Watch out, this podcast may contain adult content. We're brought to you today by Altered Reality Entertainment, the creators of Empire State Comic-Con. Check it out at escomiccon.com. And now, on to the show. Hello and welcome to a special episode of On the Case, Game of Thrones, an investigative television podcast where me and Casey usually have a character that we're talking about specifically, but the first trailer for Season 8 of Game of Thrones dropped today. So me and Casey are going to talk about it. Casey, give me your first thoughts just on this trailer in general.
Oh, man, it's such a great trailer. I've been chomping at the bit for any kind of footage. All we've gotten is pictures and pictures and pictures, and they all look great, but this trailer took my breath away. I mean, it starts with just this amazing, tense moment, and then it builds into these epic cinematic shots, and they don't give too much away. It's just exactly what I needed to satiate me for hopefully the next 6 weeks that are going to go by really fast.
I would say it's definitely a appetizer. It is very. I was really worried about this because a lot of things in media have the problem of giving too much away.
Yes.
And I feel like this gives nothing away while building nothing but incredible excitement.
Agreed.
So I am all in, all up on it. Can't wait to have it in my life.
There was a lot of people that thought there wouldn't be a trailer, and because it'd be impossible not to show something that people would find to be a spoiler. Just someone being in a setting or anything could be a spoiler in the show. And people are so, protective over it. And I would have been fine with that, even though I wanted a trailer. But this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted some shots. I wanted to see some character reactions and things that we know. We know most of what we're seeing in this is probably from the first episode. And that's smart.
I vehemently disagree, and we'll get through. I think a lot of these shots are from way later episodes than the first one.
Some of the battle scenes obviously aren't from the first one, but they don't show anything about the scale of it. They show very intimate, close
quick
shots.
Cuts, close-ups. So, I want to kind of start at the beginning because it's incredible. I body cried 3 times. The first time I watched it, I immediately texted you. I'm sobbing, my whole body's shaking and crying when Hodor is holding that door. And the second time I watched it, I cried again. And then this time now, I just got chills just the whole time.
I had a visceral reaction as well. I was air punching while trying to not throw my phone through the window because I was just holding it with one hand, air punching with the other.
Oh, you watched it on your phone the first time?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because you sent it to me and I didn't want to waste 10 seconds.
I feel you. So, you know what I did? I immediately clicked the link from the page I was on. I was like, what am I doing? And I turned on my TV and my Xbox at 8 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I was like, how loud can this volume be to not wake up my roommates?
I started it on YouTube just so I could go quickly to my YouTube app on my 60-inch TV and look at my history and be the last video, the first thing, so I could just find it really quick. Boom, and I just watched it as loud as I could, and I did not care about my roommates.
They can suck it.
I'm like, you can wake up.
All right. So what we're going to do, if you guys listen to the show, or this is your first time listening, we usually break down a character. We're going to break down the trailer this time. And what's a little bit different about this is that we're going to be going basically from the beginning to the end, shot for shot, and then we'll interject with things that are really, really important, because one of the main things that we do in our podcast is we talk about, is this person going to be the one that ends up on the throne? What's their happy ending? What's their sad ending? And I think we got something really interesting with this trailer.
We have master theorists over here.
Theorists.
We're going to do it.
Maester Theory is who you are.
Maester of Theory.
Maester Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got my question mark chain.
Yeah. So, okay. I was going to spring this on you because I don't know how you feel about this.
Do it.
I think Arya being the first person they show in the first shot of this trailer means that she ends up on the throne. Is that stupid? How stupid is that? How stupid is that?
First of all, she would not want the throne. Okay. She doesn't ever want to be the lady of anything.
There's a lot of relevance to the first person they show.
I think that it's because there's this amazing tension in that clip that they show, and it's not in the crypts of Winterfell like some of the shots. It's
somewhere
not outside.
In the castle.
It's in the castle.
So,
and something's chasing her that could fit in the castle, that she is fucking terrified. And to see Arya terrified, we haven't seen that for seasons.
No, and so this is the cool thing. So it juxtaposes this because as it goes through, so it starts with her terrified, and then you see it wash over her face I got to get my shit together. And amazing job of acting by Maisie Williams here, but the cool thing with this is that there's a moment from Lost where Jack tells Kate to count. She's 1, 2, 3. But a lot of characters have this holy shit, everything around me is destroying.
Up, yeah.
But if I don't pull it together, people are going to die. So you can like see her just like she already has like the mud on her face. So you would assume this is after whatever battle may or may not happen outside the castle.
It's
if they're
during,
in
I
the
think.
building, yeah, she's covered in mud. So like, how did she get in the castle? Are there whites chasing her in the castle?
Yeah.
Is it a White Walker chasing her in the castle? Now I know I opened with ridiculousness and saying Arya ends up on the throne, but I think she's going to be the one who kills the Night King.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I mean, she does have a Valyrian steel dagger.
Yep.
And the complexity of a dagger versus a sword is a dagger is mostly meant for an execution or some sort of assassination, and she is a faceless assassin. So if she kills a White Walker, they usually just like disintegrate. But if she could find a way to steal a White Walker's face or a White's face, maybe, and then get close enough to the Night King to do it. And just get behind him and do a little Peter Baelish season 1, like, told you not to trust me, bitch, and kill the Night King, I would be all for that.
So Casey, I actually believe that this shot with her running in this hallway is the scene where the Night King dies.
Oh, they would not put that in a trailer.
But they don't show him. They don't show what's chasing her. They don't show anything like that. But I don't know. Maybe
No.
I'm putting way
See,
too much stock
I think-
into this specific scene.
I think
but
the
they
battle-
chose to open with this.
No,
I think it's important.
The battle at Winterfell is going to take place in the fields, in the ramparts up above. It's going to take place in the sky with the dragons. There's going to be people in the crypts waiting it out, hearing horrible things happening, and then some forces might get into the castle, and that's I think what she's dealing with is they've retreated to some level and something's chasing her. It could be White Walker, or it could be ice spiders as big as hounds.
Terrible.
I'm totally saying it might be a beast of some sort. It could even be an undead summer.
What if it's Ghost?
What if it's summer?
What if it's summer? What if it's a direwolf
it's
chasing
a
her down
direwolf?
the hallways of Winterfell?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, and there's some direwolf.
That's the real
shot
horror movie.
later in it.
You know how she's in that X-Men New Mutants movie, and that's like supposed to be like a horror mutant thing. Like
Yeah.
it's like no, this is the real horror that's happening for Maisie Williams.
It's shot like a horror movie, and I like that because from everything I've heard about this Battle of Winterfell, it's going to have lots of different vibes in different areas of what's happening. You're going to get
it's part
like,
Helm's Deep, part like.
and it's longer
horror
than Helm's
nightmare.
Deep.
Yeah.
The director said it's the longest battle ever.
Okay, so next shot, close up on her face. She gets her shit together.
Yeah.
Then it's her running down the hallway. Now she has a large amount of blood on her face. I believe it would be her how does math work? It's the right eye.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she's missing an eye, but it's just like her whole like side of her.
I think it's
face
from
is-
fighting. I think that
Yeah,
they've already
her-
fought outside, and
Yeah,
then
and
she,
her-
for some
yeah,
reason,
yeah,
retreated.
Yeah. So
That
you
makes
know,
sense.
okay. So then there's that.
But to your point, I like the juxtaposing of this fearful, because I don't think she gets her shit together in the scene. I think what you're hearing is a voiceover of her talking in a different scene where she's like, I've seen the faces of death, and she's holding the dagger. That's great because you're hearing how confident she is, and then you're seeing her broken down to, oh yeah, this is still a little girl who's terrified.
No. But in that, even in that moment, they show like she does pull it together. Like her face changes.
She
it
makes
really
a run
does.
for it.
Yeah, and then so
Yeah.
she's running.
I think she's still scared as hell.
And then like this is actually a shot that's later in the
Mm-hmm.
thing, but it does show her playing with a dragon glass spear, and she's like, I've seen the many faces of death, and like it's like I'm excited to
Yeah.
see this one. So like her being cocky,
Yeah.
and then them showing us
Like White
her
Walkers,
being
bring it
broken.
on.
Yeah. So this can
It's
break
perfect.
anyone. It's perfect. Yeah. Next shot is Sir Davos on the you would assume the ramparts,
Ramparts, yeah.
of Winterfell.
He's looking across the
yeah,
battlefield.
looking across.
Looks like shit's about to jump off, but it hasn't yet.
It's about to pop off. Yes.
And
yes,
I like that. I like that he would have a bird's eye view. He's not a fighter. He should be up there commanding people and archers and saying knock and loose. That's where he belongs. Is somewhere from a strategic point of view.
Yes.
It makes the most sense.
No, I'm with you. Okay, so then the next shot we have, it cuts from there to back to Arya, a little bit more running with more of her voiceover, and then it cuts to the crypts. And in the crypts, in this screen grab I have here, it's Varys, so he's clearly down there.
Yeah.
In the background, I believe we have Gilly and the baby.
Yeah.
And then no one else really looks
Just
like
peasant
they're
people.
anyone who we know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a Lyanna Mormont here. I'm not seeing...
I think Lyanna Mormont's going to be fighting. I think it's anyone who's not fighting is in the
hope.
crypts.
God, I hope.
And I love that shot that you're
I
talking about too,
need
because if you
that.
look in the background, all the kings of winter
Are
have like
behind them.
the swords, and some of them have wolves. And there's like kids and like moms and kids sitting like next to these like stone wolves in the back. And it's just so awesome because it's been this creepy, ominous place that no one outside the Stark family ever goes. You know, outside of like when they're scared and they're hiding. And now it's their place of solitude. It's like it's their place to hide and wait out this horrible storm that's coming. It's amazing.
Okay, so I think we've talked a fair amount about Maisie and like just the amazingness of I can't wait for that sequence. Then it cuts and gets away from the dark crypts and the darkness of everything and the horror vibe.
Yeah.
Goes back to the open sea. We have what it would appear is Euron's Greyjoy fleet bringing back the Gold Company.
They look amazing.
The armor looks really sick. The one like main dude
With the blonde hair.
Yeah. He's a named character. They cast him. I remember. It's like a real like Mark Thompson. It's like a weird
It's a
like
normal guy name.
it's a weird like you wouldn't think this dude is from Westeros name.
Yeah.
It's like something strange.
It sounds like someone that would do your taxes.
Yes. And then the next thing, and if you weren't freeze framing it or you weren't going by, this might be spoilers, so maybe jump ahead 30 seconds. But you do see Beric and Tormund. They are factually alive. They are in a hallway
And
together.
Ed is also there.
Yes.
Yep, so they all make it. Yeah, and I was reading this morning, apparently Ed was not at Castle Black, he was at Eastwatch when the attack happened.
Oh.
Which I did not know, but people were saying that that's the way it was and that they all survived it, which is weird. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, it's just something I read earlier. I think they probably went to Castle Black, grabbed Ed, and then they took all the Night's Watch to the next line of defense, which would be Winterfell. It makes the most sense.
And the next shot is it's Bran in the background, Samwell in the foreground, and then the imagery changes, and then Samwell's in focus, and then Bran goes out of focus. So you would assume that that's maybe Jon coming into the room and then maybe being about to tell him, "Yo, fam, you are." Yeah. That's just
a lot of
just
the imagery
concerned
is
look.
about that.
Yeah.
It's about them
yeah,
telling
yeah,
Jon because I think a lot of the imagery in this is showing Jon kind of getting the details and then having to figure out who he is. And we'll talk about that more in the other shots. But that's also, I believe, when Bran's voiceover starts.
Yes.
Saying like everything's brought you to here.
Yeah.
Everything you've been through was for a reason.
Exactly. And then it cuts to King's Landing. We see Qyburn. He's talking to Cersei about just evil plots. Basically Qyburn's just sitting there going, meh, wringing his hands as he is wont to do.
It looks way too not wintry in King's Landing for me, just personally, because we stop. Last time we see it, the snow is falling when Jaime leaves, and I was expecting there to be at least a dusting or at least like an overcast look for King's Landing this season, and instead it looks very much like it's still summer there. So maybe they're just going to get the intermittent storms here and there.
Yeah, and it's not really happening yet. No, I feel you. No, I get that, but you can't.
I was curious to see a new aesthetic there.
Yeah, I feel you. Next shot is the procession of Unsullied coming into Winterfell, it would look like. But the really cool thing with this is that they do it from the perspective of a boy who has climbed on top of a house in the same way that Bran was a climber.
Yes, to
so
see
I
the
don't
king
know.
coming.
Yeah, I don't know if this boy is someone who's going to be important moving forward, or if it's someone we know, a named character, maybe the younger Umber kid, or one of the Carson. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe if this character will have any relevance to the story, but I do think it's great to pay homage to the first episode, to Bran,
There's
to
a lot
the
of full
past.
circle stuff there.
Yeah,
because I mean he was going to see the big parade of people, the king and the queen coming, and now we're seeing that same thing happen. History repeating
and then
itself.
it cuts to, because we can see it from the back, the Unsullied walking and marching in. Then it cuts to the front, Unsullied and Jon and Daenerys on horses, coming together to Winterfell. Next, it goes to Sophie seeing the dragons for the first time.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that case?
That's my favorite shot of this entire trailer, and there's some great shots, but the shot, it shows how beautiful Sansa is, how amazing the dragons are going to be to behold in this season, because they're even bigger, it looks like, and just she's never seen them before, and she's like gleeful and bewildered at the same time. It's this amazing like complex expression she shows, where she's like a child full of wonder, but also like an adult who's in charge of shit and worried about what's going to happen. Like, she was not for him bending the knee to this Dragon Queen, but like, she's like, okay, I kind of fucking get it though.
Yeah.
Like, look at this shit.
Yeah, look at this. So the cool thing is, I saw a meme that was like the Stark children being born away, or the Stark and then Jon, of course, being blown away by seeing the dragons for the first time. So it was all their O faces, essentially. They're all like, oh, whoa, like, just looking at these dragons.
And then Bran just like,
but yeah,
doesn't
whelmed,
care at
totally
all.
whelmed, not overwhelmed. He's just whelmed.
He's like,
just
I've seen them
yeah,
1,000
whatever.
times.
Yeah, they're dragons.
I've seen all the other dragons.
Okay.
Valerian the Black Dread was better.
We move forward to after we see Sansa on the battlements, seeing the dragons. We move to the crypts, and it's Daenerys approaching Jon, and you would imagine that Jon is looking at Lyanna's statue.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think he this is post him hearing
That
from either Bran, Sam, or both of them that he is Aegon. And he's Lyanna's son. Because there's a special semblance to him being down there alone and then her coming there.
To be with,
And I think it's kind of symbolizing that he's going to have a hard time dealing with it, and that she might, instead of, we've all worried that Daenerys was going to be the one that was like angry that he had a better claim to the throne than her, but maybe she'll be the one that makes him feel okay about who he is.
Yeah.
Because she's the only other Targaryen in the world.
And no, and then the way that his face looks, I think you have to assume that it's post finding out he's a Targaryen.
Yeah.
Like I say, and we can speculate, like we don't know, we don't have any knowledge, but it just makes sense that there would be that scene after him finding out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to get that out of the way, probably in the first episode, just because he's going to arrive.
Might be the end of the first
That's
episode.
the crux of episode 1. Yeah,
because there's going to be a really difficult discussion with all the Northern Lords in the second episode, and I think that's going to take up a good chunk of
and the battle's probably the third episode.
I think, third and maybe fifth.
That'd be my
the two that Miguel Sapochnik is directing are
Okay.
the third and fifth.
Gotcha.
So I think those are battles.
So next we have your boy Gendry, and I think that this is the best shot in the trailer for me, just from a cinematic perspective, when it's like the grinder and like the hammer hitting the sword, like
they're making
this
weapons.
looks medieval as fuck, and I love it.
And
like
you see a blacksmith, and you think Gendry, and then you see Gendry, and he looks badass.
And that was my Get Hype moment, brought to you by Gatorade, and like I was just like, oh, yo, let's go. And
can I just say that Gendry looks a little bit like he belongs in Zion in the Matrix? Like he's so bald-headed, and his vest is like way open. I'm like, I get that you're working in a blacksmith,
the
but
deepest
it's the
V.
North.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, put a shirt on.
Yeah,
I felt like his mom
cold.
for 10 seconds. I'm like, Gendry,
what are you doing?
you're left without your coat again.
And then we're gonna get into this, I'm sure, in the end, like just what we feel of the symbolism of the trailer and just like where it goes from here. But I think who they're choosing to show means this is who's important. So like,
definitely,
like in the more not necessarily the more screen time means the more important they are, but like there's certain people that like we get a flash of Ed, Tormund, and Beric. They're not very important, and like we knew that in our heads.
I think everyone's important, but not in the same respect. Like Gendry's gonna be important for making weapons.
See,
Varys in the crypts is important. He'll be there to
and I think they're really minuscule, and because Gendry gets more screen time than Sansa in this trailer. So
no way.
What's Sansa gonna do in this?
Her
in the
clip
final season?
Her clip is like 5 seconds long of her like reacting and watching them fly over. And I saw Gendry for a glimpse.
All right, I think Gendry.
If anyone gets the most screen time, it is Arya. And
it is.
And I just think that's because it's a really shocking.
I think we get we get Jorah twice, which is interesting. So after we see Gendry being the sexy what is the sexy blacksmith called? Like, what would you even?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, I'm glad that Gendry got his own moment in the trailer and he's not bunched in with a bunch of other people, because like Brienne and Potter together, they get a moment together.
Yeah.
And I know they're together, but like for me, it lends more theory to my Gendry's going to be on the throne at the end theory, and it's making me feel better about it.
I think that eventually I want to do an episode about this, but I think that the 7 most important people that will be left of the main characters will also resemble the 7 gods, and he will be the smith. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into the other ones later.
Yeah,
but I think
we'll get it.
That's his role for me.
All right, so the next we see people scrambling on horses, Jorah getting people in line at nighttime. You would assume this is before the final battle. Mm-hmm. Then we cut to Grey Worm grabbing Missandei for the hottest kiss of the year.
Great.
Like just like, yes, you two, I believe in your love.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't have to feel weird because you're not cousins humping.
No.
Like it's.
And he's a badass, but he's always been kind of shy around her. And that moment, he's like, I'm gonna grab my girl before I go out to fight. I'm gonna kiss her like I'll never see her again. Like, I was like, damn, get it. Like, I liked it. It was great. It was very assertive.
And I know multiple times I've said this is the best moment of the trailer, but this is actually the best moment of the trailer. I'm actually in it right now.
The kiss?
No. It's the next one. I'm officially throwing my actually onto the table, as I do in our pod.
Actually, but not factually.
The best moment of this trailer is that shot of Jaime motherfucking Lannister on the battlements with the flames and death behind him, and then he's just like swinging through viciously, and then he just like turns his face and he's like bearded and just yelling, just like go, and I'm just like, yes,
that is a great
give
shot.
me Helm's Deep.
He's letting out like this guttural yell, like he looks like he's trying to make himself angry because he's scared, because there like hell is going on around him, like. at this point in the battle,
It's
you've got to think some people
incredible.
have died.
It's incredible.
It is. And
This
I think
is
he has a
incredible.
voiceover too during that portion where he's talking about like, I came here to fight for the dead, and that's what I'm going to
Okay,
do.
so yeah, and
or
so
something
like that,
that.
yeah, he said that I made a pledge, and and I intend to keep that. So I imagine what that is like you kind of said, maybe the second episode when the Northern Lords are all gathered together and they're reckoning with what John did. Jamie arrives and they're just like, "Yo, we've got to kill this guy." Like, right? Like, we cannot do this. And then it's gonna be that John honorable moment. It's like, you know what? No. Even though Cersei's betraying us, we made a pact with this man, and we have like it's gonna be John like getting the Northern Lords to be like, "Hey, we hate the Lannisters. We know what they did to this family.
Yeah.
But this man is not all of the Lannisters."
Plus, like, if anyone needs any fact checking, just like look over at Bran. He'll just like mind meld into the Matrix or whatever for a second, come back and be like, "Oh yeah, I just saw him. He totally left Cersei. She's being a bitch, but he's being a good dude."
Well, no, and it sucks because we talked about this on our Sansa episode, but like Sansa has someone in the North who will, Tyrion has someone in the North that the Northerners respect that can vouch for him.
Yeah.
So like Sansa can, like, the Northern Lords like shackle up all these Lannisters, let's chop off their heads.
Yeah.
And Sansa can be like, you know what? No, this guy he's my husband, and he treated me well. He didn't force himself on me. He did nothing, and he treated me like a human the whole time.
Yeah.
So Sansa, she's going to be the one championing Tyrion, and then the Northern Lords being like, okay, I guess we accept this because they respect her. But there's no champion for Jaime in the North. Brienne doesn't have that clout with the Northerners.
I think it might be Bran.
You think it might be Bran?
Yeah, and I think what will happen is he'll
Thanks. Pats him on the back. Thanks for throwing me out the window, fam.
I think he kind of will. I think actually how weird Bran is. I think he'll actually say, like, he'll vouch for him and say, like, I've seen the good deeds he's done. He fulfilled
I've seen the
like what he did for my mother.
Cool.
And then privately, because I know he would maybe say it to Jaime, but not in front of everybody. He'll say, "I know you pushed me out the window. I know you feel guilt, but I would have never become the Three-Eyed Raven without you." You know, and he's like, and basically say like, we're square as long as you do good shit from now on.
All right, so this next freeze frame is probably the most spoilery thing in the trailer. So if you want to go in fresh and don't want analysis, jump forward a minute. We're only going to talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
And now we're talking about it. All right, so Cersei in the throne room crying she has a wine glass in her hand.
Yeah.
And a pregnant lady does not hold a wine glass in her hand.
I think that
And this is something you brought up.
It's written in the stars, and yeah, I've brought it up several times. She can't have this fourth baby. The prophecy says 3 babies, and then the Valonqar kills her. So this fourth baby will not be born. It will be miscarried, and I think that's why she looks like she's crying and she's drinking wine.
Yes, and the other thing that I think kind of goes along with this is that there's the Mad King, Mad Queen theories of Cersei wanting to burn it down. If there was anything that could push her over the limit, it's Jaime being away, or Jaime maybe dying in the North, or just Jaime being gone, not being able to check her worst impulses, and her losing a child in that way and being truly alone. Yeah. That could push her.
And
over
then she's
edge.
the last Lannister for sure.
I could see
and
her.
No one's
I could see her
wine.
trying to burn down King's Landing and everyone inside of it.
Yeah, she'd have nothing left to lose.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, then now we're done talking about that, and that was pretty much a minute. Good job, us. Now it cuts to the dragons flying above the North, looking free, looking happy.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Good job, CG team. You guys are dope as hell.
It looks so good.
We've got Arya seeing the dragons for the first time. She's blown away. It cuts to my guy Grey Worm again. Grey Worm getting a lot of shine. Like,
he's important.
A concerning amount of he might die shine.
I know.
And then he's just like standing there in front of everybody, putting the helmet on. Like, one shot would have been enough. But the second shot, they're just like, let's get you emotionally invested in this mofo dying. Yeah. I hate them.
Well, think about it this way. You think like that that Grey Worm would basically be an Unsullied forever.
Yeah.
So and he wouldn't have a purpose beyond being Unsullied because they ask him like, oh, who were you before? What was your name before? He's like, only remembered Unsullied, always Unsullied. So that makes the most sense.
Yeah. I get you. It's good. Next scene. We have, let's see here, Jon Snow under the tree, and I don't really know. There's not really like too much context to what's going on here.
Oh, he's in the Godswood though.
Yeah, he's in the Godswood, just looking at Weirwood.
See, and that's what's weird to me is why would he be alone in the Godswood? He doesn't have brand powers. There's something he's dealing with.
Thinking about, yeah. No, I feel you. And then it shows Jaime doing that thing that we talked about, where he's basically saying like, I pledge to fight for the North. I'm here to fight for the North, kind of thing. And
For
then
the
it
living,
cuts
yeah.
from that to here. I'm just kind of clicking through here because there's a lot. There's a shot of the Hound with a bunch of fire around him. So maybe you'd imagine this is when
He's fighting.
he's fighting, and the dragons have really put a ton of fire near him, and maybe this is a conquer his fears kind of moment.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It could be either dragon, honestly.
Yeah.
Could be the undead dragon.
I guess, does the Under Dragon leave red fire behind? Because it is red fire.
It would come out blue fire, but as soon as it was like just burning somewhere, it would not continue being blue fire, I would assume.
Gotcha.
Because it's a special heat, but it wouldn't.
There's a hand grabbing like a long spear, and then there's also another hand grabbing like a bow. And so I don't know if this is like it's Yara and they're not showing us. I just don't know of any people who would be an archer.
Mira?
It looks like a female hand. So what I kind of want to say is I think maybe it's Arya and it's full circle of her dad. You know, the story she tells about the arrow and going to the target herself and getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a full circle moment of that where like she like looks down at that like it's like the same location. And when she talks about that, and she looks down at it and sees it, and then she like draws her bow. That's all I could think besides Mira or Yara. Yeah,
Mira's
it's just
a very good archer. So
yeah, and it's just a bow hand. So
I could see her getting some dragon glass. I mean, she's one of 3 people in the show that has ever killed a White Walker.
truth.
Her, Sam, and John. So
And then we have John running through fire and death. It would seem it looks like he's outside, but he could be inside the courtyard of Winterfell, and his hair is just flopping
that
in
would
the
still
wind
be outside technically.
beautifully.
Yeah.
And then I think we have a scene of like the gates being assaulted. It would look like,
And that's that spot with him running. He's like, there's no one near him.
yeah.
So it's really weird. Like, why would he be running? It's almost like, what if like the Night King dropped off some White Walkers in the castle to kill Bran, and he just dropped them off of the dragon?
yeah,
So they're all on the front lines and they're fighting, and he has to run back to the castle because someone has to protect Bran.
Yeah,
That could
No,
be
I
what
see
happens
it.
with Arya too.
And there's a moment where there's like some just unrecognizable guys in armor heading towards it would look like a gate, and I think maybe that's the dead dragon popping through that gate or something like that, or like breaking it down.
Maybe.
It's not showing that, but that's
or
what
giants, the
ice
white
giant,
giants.
yeah, the ice giants, yeah. And then the next shot, very interesting. It's Jon and Daenerys walking up to the 2 dragons.
Yeah, and they were like sitting next to a burnt pile of bones.
Yes,
So what is that about?
I'm gonna guess, and like maybe that like they went and they fed there's like a bunch of animal carcasses there essentially. So maybe this is them just like feasting or feeding them. But I believe that this is the Wally How to Train Your Dragon moment before Jon gets on his dragon for the first time and Daenerys teaches him how to ride together.
It definitely looks that way because it's like shot like 2 dragons, 2 people, and they're lined up perfectly in the frame.
Yeah.
But I also think that like it's mysterious the way they're walking up to those bones, that like maybe the dragons were like kind of a little bit further away from the castle, and they killed some scouts or something for the White Walker army.
I feel you.
If they do that sort of thing. Because like it seemed like there was some sort of importance to what was dead there.
Gotcha. I gotcha. We get Sansa on the battlements, just kind of making a face, looking off as a beautiful human. We have Arya in the main fray in battle, swinging like a spear. So I think it's probably.
I thought she was twirling.
A dragon glass spear, maybe, I would guess,
Probably.
would be my guess. We got Daenerys in Winterfell. We see only one shot of Tyrion. And then we get a Drogon face up close in some darkness. More unsullied in the battlements. Our first shots of Brienne and Pod.
Yeah, that's a great shot where they're like all
It
lined
pans
up,
across,
standing still.
Then
that
it cuts
felt
to
like
Jorah.
Helm's Deep to me.
Yeah, and then it cuts to Jorah, and like the armor's in the background. I'm not seeing too many signifiers of house right now.
From the look of it, it looks like everyone's just wearing like blacks
Standard,
and grays.
yeah.
And they're just warm. Like they're just trying to dress warmer.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And then the hammer of the trailer is the castle in darkness and the hoof of
Yes.
a undead horse.
And people are like, oh, well, there's the Night King on his undead horse. And I'm like, the Night King's not riding a fucking horse anymore. Did you guys not see last season?
Yeah.
Like, he's not leaving that dragon without himself.
Homie's ghost riding the whip.
Yeah, he's got the ghost dragon. Like, no, he's not riding that. I mean, it might be a White Walker or something. It's probably a White Walker, but yeah, it's very ominous the way they shoot that. And I love how everyone's staying still in the night, in the darkness. All we need is it to start raining or something, and then it's exactly like Helm's Deep. Like it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so
yeah,
much
yeah,
Helm's
yeah,
Deep
yeah.
vibes. It looks amazing, so
It's
amazing.
good. Do you have any other thoughts on this thing, on this bad boy?
I mean, I do. The people in the Golden Company, I think it's interesting how they're sailing across, and I think that there's gonna be some betrayal there. As far as things in the trailer that really interest me, it's definitely what the hell is Arya so afraid of that's in the castle? How did it get in the castle? Because we have to assume that if any of the forces make it into the castle, that 99% of the forces of good are dead.
Yeah.
Outside. Because there's not a whole lot of room in there, and we know all the people are hiding down in the crypts, and there is a back way out from the crypts that drops you off like miles away, and if that happens and people have to take the Dragon Express over to White Harbor or something, it means that everything went wrong, and that means that not only are a lot of people dead, but a lot of the main characters are going to be dead.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried about what the hell is in that thing, unless, like
And
I said, they drop them off, because like that'd be brilliant to do. If you're the Night King, you can fit like 10 people on a fucking dragon.
Hey Casey, you know how my guy Varys has to die in Westeros?
Yeah.
What if all the dead bodies in the crypts come to life?
I know. That's been the theory for a while. The kings of old, the kings of winter,
All the dead people in the crypts of Winterfell come to life.
they didn't bury, or they
and
didn't burn them.
And then our scene is us following Gilly. She's running out with her baby, and then they eat the baby.
Oh God.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Or Jon gets killed by Lyanna, his own mother. That'd be so crazy. I mean, I don't know how crazy science fiction-y they're gonna go that way.
No, they're not gonna get that.
I don't think so. I mean, I do like the idea that there's
They're
something in the
ridiculous.
crypts
Yeah.
that we don't know about, because in the books they talk about like that section that's condemned.
But something gets in that castle.
Yeah, something's in the castle, and it sounds scary. And like if you listen really carefully, because I obviously have watched this trailer way too many times, but if you listen really carefully, you hear like this guttural growl. But we know that like a white can make that sound too.
Yeah.
So, but a White Walker wouldn't.
So
White Walkers sound like ice, and they scream in weird screechy sounds.
So if it's a direwolf,
It could be something creepy,
It
like
could
a
be
creature that's undead.
It could be Summer.
It could be a bear. It could be anything but a giant, a dragon, or a White Walker, I think.
Night King's malicious, and he's sending Summer to kill Bran, and Arya's trying to protect him.
Yeah, and I mean, like, look, people in the show are saying this season's gonna rip your heart out. It would not be above them to use an undead Hodor or undead.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Leave. We're ending this now. This
No,
is
seriously.
over. I'm done.
Seriously.
No.
And I think, you know what? If you really think about it, think about Hardhome. There's some foreshadowing. That woman who's a wildling
having
puts
to
her
watch
kids
her
on,
kid,
and then she's fighting fiercely, and then all of a sudden there's undead kids, and she can't fight. She just is frozen with fear and anxiety and a mother's remorse, and then she like lets them kill her. Imagine that same feeling, having to look someone in the face that you knew your whole life and kill them, even though you know it's not really them anymore. It's still horrible. It's something The Walking Dead has done well a few times, but in this show, we've never really had that, and the characters we've lost north of the Wall or anywhere around Winterfell, they could be really impactful in a scene like that.
If Arya's running from Lady Stoneheart.
Oh my god. That's not happening.
No, that's not happening. But would that be incredible? That'd be an incredible
Or
move.
what if like someone that's alive right now dies?
Yeah.
And they're chasing. What if Sansa's chasing Arya?
That would
Undead
be
Sansa.
Incredible.
Crazy.
Give me that.
Anything like that.
Give
could happen.
me undead Sansa
That's why
chasing
this is
down
the best
Arya.
show on television, ladies and gentlemen, because literally anything's possible.
Yep.
And they are not afraid to step on your heart.
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of On the Case, Game of Thrones. Casey,
Trailer edition.
Trailer edition. We post episodes pretty frequently about different characters, and
Lots
we
more
give
coming.
them we talk about their top moments, their worst moments in the previous seasons of the show.
Yep.
And then we foreshadow what we think is going to happen in the final season of the show. And we're going to get through every character who's living and breathing before Game of Thrones comes back on April 12th.
A lot of good ones left, guys.
Yeah, 6 weeks left. They're all up on YouTube. There's a link. You can find it. It's somewhere.
Yep. It's going to be awesome. We got lots more good stuff coming. And then as we get closer to the show premiering, we're going to have a lot of best moments,
Top
fives.
lists,
It's
yeah,
gonna be
some
really
weird
fun.
things, some weird things. As always, the show is brought to you by Altered Reality Entertainment. They are the creators of Empire State Comic-Con. You can check it out at escomiccon.com. That's actually happening the weekend of the Game of Thrones premiere, and I'll be
Sweet.
sadly watching the Game of Thrones premiere alone in a hotel room on my laptop.
It'll be amazing though.
Yes, but the con's gonna be great.
We'll just have to put.
I'll just be
we'll have to put a
sad.
tier guard on your keyboard.
No, yeah. We're actually talking about maybe having a screening and like doing like a con, a con party screening party thing
Sounds
where everyone
fun.
has to be silent or we'll hold the door while they
Yes.
freaking get out.
Everyone checks their phones at the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Totally. Sounds awesome.
Freaking that the Swedish DJ, he holds the door, and we're gonna hold on to your phone for you because no texting, no talking. Yeah,
Hold the door check.
yeah. Check it at the door.
Love it.
Yeah, this is bad. I'm bad.
Yeah.
We should leave.
Okay.
Okay.
All done.
Bye. Bye. Now.